afternoon, everybody. Coach John's here for you. Thanks for joining us. Steve, if you want to take it away from us.
Yeah, Kevin, first, I want to ask about the wide receiver room with Eli getting hurt, how that's changed.
Yeah, you know, the dynamic has changed because Eli was brought so much energy to the group and such a phenomenal work ethic that that's hard to replace right away. But some younger guys have stepped up. Our older leadership has stepped up. Still feel great about Calhoun and Jordan Moore, Samir Hagens, like those guys have played a lot of football for us. And now for us is trying to build the depth underneath those guys to make sure that position group can be one of the strongest on our team.
Last time we talked about y'all in the slide being a little bit of flex. Have you got more clarity on what your expectations look like there?
Just not quite yet, because I tell you why. When you're in the middle of fall camp like this, there are always going to be nicks and bumps and bruises. And so as soon as you get one guy back, somebody else gets hurt. And that's just the nature of fall camp. So I'm not ready to say right now that we are a well-oiled machine up front quite yet. There are still a lot of moving parts. And honestly, it's not such a bad thing because you force maybe the guy who thought he was the starting right guard to line up and play center. And now he needs to learn that as well. And so you build some depth. You build the ability to move some guys around. But here pretty soon now, I know we're closing in on this first game. Pretty soon we're going to pick five or six guys and just roll and let those guys go do it.
Pretty good thing about Horny Brook. Is that what you're saying?
Jake's been phenomenal. And I tell you, in the spring was just okay. Learning the offense, the verbiage, the tempo, everything was just new. And it's hard to play fast when you're thinking. And now I see a kid that is much stronger and more explosive after the summer that he's had with David Feely in the weight room. I see a more confident kid who now knows the language and the offense. And he's doing great things. We're having him play both guard and tackle. He's doing both for us right now. But he will for sure be one of the guys out there playing a lot of football for us this year.
Spoken to the line coach, Scott Elliott seems to have shown up, is getting the reps. Can you speak a little bit to what he can bring to that O-line?
I will, yeah. I think one's just maturity and experience. You know, he's already played a lot of football. And so he's coming to us as an experienced college player. He's really grasped the system and what Coach Cushing is teaching up front. And, you know, when you're playing center, it's almost like you're the quarterback. You're making all the calls. You're fixing the protections. You have to be loud. You have to be confident. And, you know, because, again, everybody responds to the center. That's the voice. Very, very pleased with where he is right now. Pleased with how he's working. He's been a pleasant surprise so far for us.
Kevin, the receiver room looks like two of the guys to replace Eli snaps and production are Kyle Wall and Sean Brown. Do you have any reservations or concerns that they're such different body types as Eli was? They're not the bigger type guys you can throw jump balls to?
For sure. I think that's a great point. I think they are different body types, and that is a concern. But now it becomes my job not to put them in those same situations that we would put Eli in. And so that just comes with us, different formation names, moving guys around. But then there also are different Eli in that those guys are faster, quicker, change of direction guys, not the big body jump ball guys. So they bring a different skill set, but then we lose a little bit in the height category as well. But I think we can manage that with how we call plays.
Coach Elko was telling us about more regular offense this year, emphasis on that, 4-point plays, getting touchdowns, really well. How would you assess that, how that's gone so far? Is it swinging in?
Yeah, it's going okay. I mean, we want it to be better. We get put in some tough situations in practice. Coach, scripts out a lot of the real life game situations, and there are a bunch of 3rd and 7 on the 7s. And that's not easy for an offense. That's not an easy place to be. As simple as it sounds and as close to the goal line as you are, that's tough. And so as much as we can do that, the better. More than anything else right now, it's the understanding of our kids of knowing where we are on the field, the quarterback realizing I can't take a sack, this ball is either complete or it's out of bounds. Things of that nature, I think, are what we're trying to build. And then we can be cute with schemes and trying to dissect plays as we get into the season. Right now, I think we're really trying to teach us the mental part of things and understanding football and the situation that you're in.
Coach, going into year 2 with Jordan Moore as a wide receiver, what are some things that he's really improved on this offseason that you think will make him better this year?
Yeah, I think his explosion is number one. And so Jordan has always been a fast athlete, but now he's becoming a fast wide receiver that can run routes and get in and out of breaks. And there's a huge difference than just being a fast track kid. He's learned the technique that he's going to need to get open versus press. A year ago, honestly, we felt like he was just sort of out there trying to run around everybody. This year he knows how to move people, how to attack and stem techniques. I expect big things from Jordan. I'll be disappointed if he doesn't have a much better year than what he had a year ago.
And now that Jalen's going to be a fifth-year senior, Jalen Calhoun, how has his leadership and his positional group really developed, and how has he become a big leader?
I think Jalen, to be honest with you, is I always say Jacob Monk's my favorite player ever. He just works so hard, and like Jalen Calhoun from the skill position is a very, very close second. I mean, that guy just gives everything he has on every single play. And again, as a coach, when I can walk into the meeting room and the film room and show a freshman wide receiver, watch this guy who's been playing ACC football the last 3-4 years at a high level, watch him work, and now watch you work. Like, who do you think you are that you can't work as hard as this guy? Couldn't be any happier or pleased with his leadership. I expect big things from him. He's so hungry. He's so driven to have a great year and then continue his career at the next level. That wide receiver group is very special. Those guys are hungry to step up. There's some young guys ready to prove themselves as well. And I feel good we're going to have a good spot, a good season for those guys this year.
What's the difference working with Coach Alford this year?
Well, just we understand each other. I understand what he's thinking. I also, again, the question came up about the situations. Coach Elko is as smart and as detailed, as thought out as anyone that I've been around. We tell our kids, like, we never just run a play at practice just to run a play. It's 1st and 10, we got to gain 4, or it's 3rd and 7 on the 7, 4-point play. Like, we just don't rep things for the heck of it. So that has been awesome. But now also when we come in as coaches and we watch practice afterwards, we all know sort of what the answers are to the problems we're facing right now, right? So we all understand what's chapter 2, what's chapter 3, what's the next part of this play that can make this play successful. What do we have to tweak? So feel really good about that and the direction we're going. And I just think he and I communicate really well on the sidelines during game day in year 2. He knows how I think and how I work, and vice versa. So it's been awesome.
Coach Jimmy Richard with Special News. I've actually got a year 2 question for you as well, but I'll go ahead and specify this one with the quarterback, Riley Leonard.
Yeah.
What is his ceiling going to be for you and your offense this year? And the second part of that question would be, what could stop him from reaching whatever that ceiling may be?
Yeah, I don't know that his ceiling is extremely high. Not to be too general, but that young man is as special as I've ever been around. And so you take his athleticism that he had a year ago, that is still there. He's a little faster, he's stronger, but now he's got a much better arm. He's a year more explosive in his torso and his upper half and throwing the ball. I see him throwing the ball with more velocity this year than I think he did a year ago. He's ripping the ball more confidently. He's just different. He's a year wiser. I think you go through the battle and you face those bullets for 12, 13 games. The next time you step on the field, things are going to slow down for you. And then again, it's nice that we're in the same system. We're speaking the same language, so there's some comfort level with that he knows exactly the plays and the answers to the plays. Now, what's going to hold him back? I just think him. I just think if he ever did things mentally to hurt himself in a certain play or a certain situation, maybe made the wrong read. Other than that, I think the sky's the limit. I think he's a very special player. I think he's going to play this game for a long time.
With the experience in the running back room, and like you're describing Riley's improved arm strength, things like that, do you see him running less this year, or maybe more situational type running? What's that going to be?
I don't know. I don't think he's going to run any less. I think he's going to run when the situation presents itself. That's what I think. And I think that's what makes him so special is that you call a pass and it's not there, and he finds a lane and he's out and he's gone. We can do some zone reads with him, some options. He's got an incredibly cool skill set from my standpoint because I can be creative with what we do. But no, we're certainly not going to tell him to run any less. We're going to tell him just to go play ball. Just be Riley Leonard, because I think Riley Leonard, his game is really, really good.
Speaking of the running back room, back in the spring you had mentioned that you could be fine with one of those running backs out of those 5, kind of separating himself. Has that happened? You got a 3-headed monster kind of coming back from last year with 2 younger guys underneath there. What does that running back room look like now?
Yeah, about the same. So no one has really emerged. But again, I go back, like, because of how you work fall camp, you're always giving reps to everybody, right? Your top 3 guys, you're trying to get each guy equal amount of reps. Well, it's hard for a guy to necessarily stand out or separate when you're cutting reps like that, when you're splitting reps. But those guys are good with it, and we're good with it as an offense because we're keeping them fresh. and then you play a game day and you roll one of them out there and you see who's hot. Somebody gets dinged up, you put the next guy out there. Each one has some different strengths. So to us, like it's a positive to us. It's our advantage. And those guys are so unselfish that you never hear a word from them about, I need more. It's just about we. I love that.
Kevin, we go back to Connor's point about the wide receiver. If you don't have wide receivers that can make that tough position, catching traffic, that implies you might use your tight end more. You've got a couple of experienced tight ends and a whole bunch of young guys. You get any clarity in that room?
So Nicky Dalmallin is still the one. He's still head and shoulders. He's played the most. He's more dynamic in the passing game. Is doing a great job at the point of attack blocking. So he'll run out there first. And then, Cole Finney played a lot of football for us a year ago, so we're relying on his experience there. That position, that tight end position, is huge for us. We need that guy out there. It helps in our running game. It helps with the protections. And so we're always going to find someone, when Nicky gets tired, to put someone else out there. And Nicky runs well enough and has enough of a receiver background from high school that, again, we can use formations and moving guys around to put guys where we need them to be. So he'll be a big part of our passing offense.
Get a lot of questions about Riley, but what's been encouraging about Henry's growth in the last year?
A lot of things. And I would say, number one, how much he has improved his body physically. And, Henry in high school, and really right now, he's got a rocket strong arm. He could throw the ball 70 yards without even trying. And he could do that in high school. Well, in high school, you get away with it. He comes here, and I say, hey, listen, Henry, you're doing great, but your feet aren't fast enough. You're not quick enough. And so he really went to work on that. He's improved his quickness. He's improved his speed immensely over the last year. And that has made him a better quarterback. The ball's coming out of his hand faster. He can flip his hips. He can move his feet. He can evade in the pocket. He's become more of a complete quarterback now than he was a year ago. I still think this in my heart. He just lacks the game experience for me to stand up here and say he's a for sure, high ACC quarterback. He's just not yet because he hasn't done it on the game field. But once he gets that experience, I think he's an extremely talented young man.
That's kind of puts you in a tough spot. He needs game experience. He's got a guy like Riley Leonard in front of him.
Yeah, no, that's just what it is. Like Riley's our quarterback, and that's not changing. And Henry has to learn by getting mental reps. You just do. And then we put him in situations in practice as much as we can. He'll take some reps against the one defense so he can feel the rush. But Riley's our guy. I mean, we're not going to, take him out unless we have to.
Ask a similar question to Coach Huff, but you guys have got some really talented Coach James on the schedule this year. What's something from last year that y'all can work on to make sure that you can approach on the right side?
I think it has a lot to do with situational football, the question that came up earlier, and really finishing drives with touchdowns, not field goals. That's going to be huge. And then taking care of the football. And I think if we do those two things, it'll always put us in a position to win the game. We don't do those things, we have no chance of winning those games. And our kids know that. That's our recipe. That's what we build it upon. We talk about that every day. But I think we can learn from a year ago how our guys have seen how much success we had a year ago because we did take care of the football. And now if we can finish drives, score more touchdowns, it's going to give us a chance to win even more of those big-time games.